EZK Studios in Kentucky. It's time for the EZK Show. Tonight, we break down the top 10 movie sequels. Your hosts, Darfeezy and Rady Cage. Woo!
Pass out.
Sure, one day I might just pass out and it'll be incredible. So guys, I'm Darfeezy.
I'm Rainy Cage.
So this month's our top 10. This is our fifth official top 10. We've done 6 technically with the top 10 anticipated movies of the summer.
Yeah.
We did that 2 weeks ago, and since Deadpool 2 is coming out this month, we decided we're going to do movie sequels. We could have done comic book movie sequels, but hey, it's going to be we're hoping it's going to be a long show, so we'll probably get there one day. So guys, I'll explain how the show works. Once me and Rainy Cage have picked a topic, we will go our own separate ways and compile our own separate top 10 lists. I'll do my 10 through 8. He'll do his 10 through 8. I'll do my 7 through 6. He'll do his 7 through 6. Then we'll trade off one apiece. Once we have compiled our own separate top 10s, we will create the shows among the two of us. And I will re-explain the punt rule for Rainy Cage here. If I have a movie at 10 and he has a movie at and he has a movie at 9, we talk about it. If it's one ahead of the others, we talk about it. But if it's further down the conversation, we will punt the conversation later.
You act like that I messed that up last time. We had like 14 movies in between that last time. It wasn't one right next to the other.
It was right next to each other. Anyways, it's fine. Alright, so this was a fun list to do. And I'm actually really happy with my top 10 as always.
Of course you are.
I'm always happy with myself after I do these top 10s.
Okay.
So my number 10 is this movie came out in the 1980s.
Okay.
It is my number 10 is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
I don't have that on my list.
Oh man, that's such a
no Star Trek for me.
It's just such a great it's a great movie. It's the sequel to the horrible Star Trek the motion picture movie, which was god awful. I watched this. It's like I don't know if I want to watch the rest of these Star Trek movies. But then I watched Star Trek Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek Wrath of Khan blew me away. And I've never really been that big of a Star Trek fan. I've watched the newer ones before I watched the old ones. And Wrath of Khan is just incredible. I mean, the whole story of it is you have Kirk. He doesn't really want to be a captain anymore. He's kind of feels like he's gotten old. And then an old nemesis from Star Trek the original series comes back, who's played with the character known as Khan, comes back for revenge. Says revenge is the dish best served cold, and Kirk has to go off and face Khan, save his crew. And Khan is just such an incredible villain. I mean, the guy who plays him did such an incredible job. I mean, he was great. And when he just leaves him off and he gets that entire speech and Kirk goes, Khan! I mean, William Shatner just does such a great job in that role, just the anger. And the death of Spock in the movie is just, it's so sad when Spock dies. And when Spock says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And when Kirk gives that speech at the end of the movie and he says, from all my journeys and all my life, I've never met someone, and you see him, he feels so choked up and everything. He's like, feels so human. And they sent on Spock to the next movie, and whenever they're like, so where to next, Captain? He's like, I feel young again. And he just re-embodies that young spirit that he had in the original series. It's such an incredible movie. This movie would probably make it higher on the list, but I've only seen it once, but I love the movie. So have you seen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, I watched all the old Star Treks back in high school. I haven't seen them since.
You should revisit them.
But I like Star Trek. I like the new Star Treks too, and I like all Next Generation and the new show. And I do remember a lot of what you were just talking about. But yeah, it's pretty good. I have no idea how to silence that.
All right, after an interruption of a Skype call, my number 9 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, we're going to have to punt that.
Okay. my number 8 is one of the great movies made by George Lucas, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I don't have any Indiana Jones.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
I don't even put them on my honorable mentions.
Did you not think of it, or?
Well, I just, I haven't watched them in a long time since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was, like 2008 or 2006? Yeah, so over a decade. And they're just not fresh in my mind. I do love the old Indiana Jones movies, but I don't know. It just didn't really catch me.
Okay, well, Indiana Jones Last Crusade was the...
That's actually the third one, right?
Yeah, this is the final movie of the Indiana Jones series. We have not seen Indiana Jones since Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I don't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about that non-fiction movie that was made by Chris Stuckman a few years ago. Anyways, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time like 2 years ago, and I was underwhelmed.
Really?
I didn't love it. I was just like, what's wrong with me? I mean, because you hear about some of these movies, you're like, oh, you gotta watch this movie. You're gonna love this movie. And then you watch it, and you're just like, I don't know. I didn't love the movie. And then I was like, I want to watch all the Indiana Jones movies. I did it last year when I was doing my classic movie series. And I watched Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was like, I liked it a little more this time. And then I watched Temple of Doom, didn't really like that one. But then I watched The Last Crusade, and I loved The Last Crusade. I mean, you have Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. You get to see some of the origins played by River Phoenix, which does prove that anybody can play Indiana Jones. That Indiana Jones was set out to be the James Bond of the archaeologist kind of universe world. And I love the movie. And
Sean Connery.
I love Sean Connery in the movie, and as playing his father, Junior, and just some of those lines in the movie, whenever he said, "You know how to fly a plane? Fly, yes. Land, no." I mean, it's just such an incredible movie. The villain, the love interest might be the weakest part of the movie because the love interest turns out she's a Nazi spy, but the two have really great chemistry with each other, and it's funny because they both the Indies had a relationship with the girl. The guy who played Maester Pycelle from Game of Thrones, he's the main villain of the movie. I mean, and then the ending with the three tests is, to see if he can get the Holy Grail, and how Indiana Jones finds out what the Holy Grail is. I mean, that's great. Also, I mean, the ending, whenever you find out the origin of Indiana Jones, he's like, we named the dog Indiana, and then they ride off into the sunset, and which ends a great movie trilogy, and it was the last Indiana Jones movie.
I miss Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
I'm Sean Connery. All right, that's my 10th or 8th.
All right. My number 10 is a movie that I think is severely underrated and gets a lot of crap. I'm going with The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Ugh.
I love The Lost World. And Spielberg directs the crap out of that movie. Does it have a few things? Like, one of the major complaints about Lost World, I'm going on a little tangent here, is no one likes the scene where the T-Rex is running through San Diego or wherever it is, somewhere in California. That was a cool scene. That was right before Godzilla, I think. And I remember as a kid, because the first Jurassic Park is perfection. But I really like a lot of things that happens in this movie. Jeff Goldblum's a little bit different, maybe, but he's still Jeff Goldblum. He's awesome. And I liked them going back to the island. It was badass. The Raptors were cool.
It was a different island, though.
This is, yeah, and it was, dang it, I can't, Vince Vaughn. It was one of Vince Vaughn's first movies I remember seeing him in.
It's got Sigourney Weaver in it.
Yeah, and, what's his name's girlfriend? Julianne Moore? Is that who that's in that? Yeah, Julianne Moore, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway.
I thought it was Sigourney Weaver. Okay.
Anyways, no, it's not Sigourney Weaver.
I thought it was Sigourney Weaver.
Unless she's in something else.
It might be Julianne Moore, then.
Yeah. Anyways, I love The Lost World. I think it gets a lot of crap for being pretty damn good. It's my second favorite Jurassic Park movie by far. And yeah, I love Lost World.
A part of Jurassic Park 2 is it's Jeff Goldblum's not the same character he was in the first Jurassic Park movie. He's not. He's that character we saw in the Ian Malcolm is not the same character we see in the second movie.
He's
and
grown
the
up.
stupid gymnastics scene is, I think, the worst. It's one of the worst things Jurassic Park has ever done. I take talking dinosaurs.
What's her name walking around in heels is better?
That's pretty bad too. But the how can you're telling me in the first movie we were told these raptors are really genius and they can figure anyone out. So you're telling me some girl doing a little black girl doing a little gymnastics and kicks the fucking raptors is a good scene.
There's one scene in this movie too where they're crawling, where they're digging under one of the things, and the raptor pokes his head out. It makes me jump every time. I've seen this movie a million times. It still makes me jump when the raptor sticks his head down under where they're trying to dig out of there.
Yeah, I don't like this movie, so this will definitely not make the final list. So
I love this movie. It's good stuff. My number 9. My number 9 is The Hunger Games: Catching Fire.
Gosh.
I mean, the best Hunger Games movie, a great sequel, because I read the books, and after the first movie, I was kind of like, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this series off, because that first movie had so much shaky cam and low budge, and I don't know, that I liked Jennifer Lawrence, but I just felt like they didn't capture the book very well, and that second movie, though, it was just so much better, and the second book is my least favorite of the books, and the second movie is my favorite of the movie. So that shows you right there what they were able to do. The cast is great, and I don't know, it was just a far superior movie than the first one.
First one's garbage. The first movie is utter garbage. Well, I've gone into this rant before, and I'll probably go into it again. But when the first movie, when you're introduced to the character of Rue or Roots or whatever her name is, the little black girl, and the movie is like, you should care about the black girl. And
well,
I'm like,
in the book you do.
In the book you do, but just because I care about a character in the book does not mean I need to care about it in the movie. And the movie gave me no reason to care about the character. And when she dies, I'm like, I don't care.
It wasn't a very good adaptation of a book.
I will give you this: Catching Fire is the only good movie of the Hunger Games series.
That's your opinion.
And when you find out Philip Seymour Hoffman is actually a spy and works for the Resistance, I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good twist. I like that. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I loved him in the movie. I mean, he's the thing that really saves the movie for me. I actually do like the second one. I won't lie, but the last two are not good. Just because it split into two. If that was one movie, I think it could have been okay. But yeah, move on.
Okay, well, thank you for your opinion. Kill Bill Volume 2 is my number 8.
Okay.
I love Kill Bill. It's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. This should have been all one movie, but since he split it in two, I count it as a sequel, and it's awesome. It's a great conclusion to the first movie. It's not as action-packed. I remember going into this, and everybody was so mad because the first movie had all these crazy, awesome action scenes, and then this one doesn't have any of that. There's like one fight scene, if I remember correctly. And, there's so many great scenes, and Uma Thurman is fantastic in it, and it's still my favorite Tarantino movie. I consider them both one movie, but, it's...
Yeah, awesome. I love Kill Bill Volume 2. To be honest with you, I didn't think about it as a sequel. But, I mean, when I did my top 5 Tarantino, Kill Bill Volume 2 made my list. It was the only Kill Bill in my list. So, because I actually like the second one better than the first movie. Just because it's more story-driven. And the speech by Bill talking about Superman. I mean, that's true. I was like, you can take that out of the movie. And I'm like, that's true. That is a good point that Superman, he's acting like himself when he's Superman. He's actually trying to be like Clark Kent. That's his superhero, and it's a good movie. And whenever she's punching the thing, and the music by Ennio Morricone is so incredible. I mean, if you haven't checked out my top 5 Tarantino movies, you can check that out right now on my YouTube channel.
If you haven't watched Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, you need to watch them because they're amazing.
Okay, that was your 8. So my number 7 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
That's my honorable mention.
I love this movie, man. This is such a. This is the first. I love Harry Potter. I read the books. I'm kind of like you when it comes to Hunger Games movies a little bit, but I mean, the Harry Potter books were so good, and I love the first two movies. I hold them in a special place in my heart. But the third movie, it's actually when it really became a really good movie.
Still my favorite movie.
And
bunch.
I mean, it's such a good movie. I mean, the adder of time travel in the movie makes it into a science fiction film, let alone just because you add time travel. When I think of time travel, it's a sci-fi. Some people are like, well, it's kind of fantasy magic. I'm like, yeah, but it's time travel. When I think time travel, it's a sci-fi. And I mean, another pick from Gary Oldman. It's my second Gary Oldman movie in this list. I mean, he plays a great Sirius Black, and the Dementors are creepy. And one thing I love about this movie is it's really a set-alone story in the Harry Potter world, because the other movies are all about Voldemort. This movie's not really about Voldemort. This is all about Harry and his relationship with his godfather, and this is such a damn good movie.
I agree.
All right, my number 6 is my only animated movie on this list, and that is Toy Story 3.
Oh. That's in my honorable mentions.
Oh, what's wrong with you? I love Toy Story.
I do too.
Toy Story 3 is just such an incredible film. I mean, that scene at the end of the movie when they're all holding hands. Woo. And they're all thinking they're going to die. I mean, this freaking Pixar. I mean, this is an anime movie. You're not supposed to cry, and that ending gets me every time when Woody takes it out and says, "Later, partner." I mean, it gets me choked up all the time. I mean, I love this movie. Just the cast: Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, the voices of Buzz and Woody. I mean, it's such an incredible film. I mean, what more can I really say? It was one of my favorite movies in 2010.
Mine too. You pretty much said everything. Those last two scenes when he has to give up the toys to the little girl. It's your childhood right there. But it's, growing up and have to pass your toys down, and then when they're about to die.
Yeah, I mean, I love it mostly because the Thirsty Toy Stores came out when I was like little. And the last movie came out when it was my last year of high school, so I was the same age as Andy was in the movie. So I have a special place in my heart. So yeah, I mean, I have a special place in my heart for Toy Story 3.
I had it in my honorable mentions, but I have another animated movie that
I don't know where that is.
More important.
All right, that's my 7 through 6.
All right, my number 7 is Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
I have another Lord of the Rings, so let's say we punt that and we talk about both
Lord of the Rings
at the same time.
Okay. My number 6 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
No, I didn't make the list.
Wow.
It was an honorable mention.
Oh, well, I love The Winter Soldier. If you think about the MCU as a whole, we just came off of, Age of Ultron? And The Winter Soldier kind of resets the MCU, because you get this great spy thriller movie that Captain America just happens to be in, and it's just a fantastic movie. It's my second favorite MCU film right now, anyways, and it's really freaking good. Sam Jackson's great in it. Chris Evans as Captain America is fantastic. And I've said this a bunch of times, but I'll say it again. The first Captain America is my least favorite MCU film. So to convert me, who was already like, I'm not feeling this Captain America guy, and I came out of that theater going, holy crap.
It was nothing against It was nothing against Chris Evans as Captain America.
No, it was,
because his performance in the first Captain America was really good. It's just that they did a montage, it's more direction. I think a lot of that was probably Paramount, who made the first Captain America movie.
Joe Johnson, I think.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that's just on Paramount because they want the movie to be setting up for the Avengers instead of making a really good movie.
It's my least favorite one, but we got introduced to the Russo brothers. These guys who had directed nothing, some Community episodes or something, come out of nowhere, and holy crap! I mean, within the first 5 minutes when they're landing on that boat. And
he kicks the guy right off the boat. You know exactly what you're in for.
I was like, movie. Holy shit! And Black Widow's great in this. I'm pretty sure this is the movie where we got a lot of Black Widow backstory. I think.
Not really. It was Age of Ultron more than anything.
Okay. Well, anyways, I love.
I mean, it's such a great dynamic between Cap and Black Widow because they're just so opposites, but yet they work so well together. It's just an incredible dynamic. This is my favorite MCU film.
Yeah,
and
which is amazing. I can't believe it didn't make your list.
Well, I mean, it was close, but there's a lot of good movie sequels, so it couldn't make the list because of I love the movie. Just it was so close, but it just didn't make it. All right. My number 5's not going to be on our list, so you might as well not even check that.
No, yeah.
My number 5 is Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh no.
I love this movie. This was the most fun movie I saw that entire year, and I mean, the movie is just so incredible. Story wise, that's the movie story. What's the story? They turn left, they turn around. That's the story of the movie. But there's so much more deep stuff going on. You have stuff going on with Furiosa, who's been separated from her family, who wants to return to her life. This great promise, and sometimes your promise isn't always going to be what it's going to be. You have the character who's played by Nicholas Hoult, who is a guy who's kind of been sold in this idea of this great warrior race that they all live in, and he kind of realizes that that's full of shit, and it's an incredible story on that part. Also, I mean, Tom Hardy plays a great Mad Max who was once played by Mel Gibson before he got too mad to play Mad Max. And George Miller, I mean, to be 70 years old and to direct an action movie like this movie is so much fun. The practical effects they use in this movie is just incredible. I love this movie. It's number 5 because I love the movie.
No list for me. It didn't make the list because everybody knows my opinions on Mad Max. It's more style over substance. It's like you said. It just drive, turn around, drive back, and
so much fun though.
It's a little over the top too, but I didn't hate it. It's just it's not one of my favorites, so didn't make my list.
Okay.
All right, my number 5 is Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
That's my number 4, so we can talk about it.
Sweet. Yeah, Terminator 2. James Cameron rocking a sequel. It's my favorite Terminator movie. It's one of the best action movies ever made. What didn't we have this in our top?
It was our top 10 robot movies.
Top 10 robot movies.
It was our number 1, actually, if you remember.
I mean, so we've talked about this before, but it's amazing. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the relationship between him and the boy is fantastic. It's great action. The new T-1000.
I know why you cry, but it's something I can never do. It's just those scenes are just so incredible.
Get a badass female character,
and we're talking about as a movie sequel goes. Yeah. You have Sarah Connor, who was that little waitress who was being hunted, and then she was told in the first movie that you're going to have to protect him and grow him up to be this. You're going to raise the Jesus Christ of this world. And you see her in the second movie, and she has these big guns and literal big guns. So, and she's just such a badass character. Linda Hamilton does I think the greatest female character of all time. I mean, the movie's incredible. You're right, the T-1000 is such medicine. That little scene when he just says that, and it's incredible. And it's my favorite James Cameron movie. No movie James Cameron does. And the thing about the movie is, we were talking last week about Lost in Space. The special effects looked so terrible in that. The special effects in Terminator 2 still hold up to today.
Yeah, and they do use computer graphics on the T-1000, so, that's a different kind of, budget and stuff. But, yeah, I think this is fantastic. I can't believe it's so high up on my list, but there was just so many other good ones I wanted to fit in there. Mm-hmm. But this movie's incredible.
All right.
Okay.
That was my number 4. My number 4 was Terminator, so.
My number 4 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was your number
9.
9. Okay. So we're a little different on this. I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Mm-hmm. It's so freaking good. Especially the first movie is really good, but this took it to a whole nother level. It had a very post-apocalyptic feel to it, and gosh, you're rooting for the apes in this movie. You're not rooting for the humans anymore. And Caesar's just so good. Andy Serkis is amazing. And yeah, I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Fan-freaking-tastic.
I love Rise. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was so good. And the sequel took it up to the next level. Oh, yeah. And because you don't see the humans until probably 25 minutes into the movie, maybe. Because it's not about the humans. It's about the apes. And that's what I loved about the director. I forget who the director is.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves, such a good job in the movie. Just it's Caesar's story, and the thing about it was, I love the thing where Koba. It was the apes that started the war between the humans.
Heck yeah.
And Koba tries to kill Caesar and just doesn't. It doesn't work out. And I love the movie. It's incredible. I mean, when whenever it's just an awesome movie. It's
My
kinda hard
movie
to
of the
explain.
year it came out.
Yeah, my number 2 movie of the year. But there's so many good movie sequels, so I had to bump it up a little higher. So,
All right.
all right, my number 3 is The Dark Knight.
Well, that would be my number 2.
All right, we can talk about it.
All right.
I mean, the Godfather is the Citizen Kane of comic book movies.
Hell yeah.
It's a movie that has still not been touched to today. It's the greatest comic book movie. Some of the greatest performances in the movie. Heath Ledger's Joker. It's just incredible. I mean, I love this movie. I mean, what more can I really say about this movie?
we've done top 10 comic book movies before on our video part, and Dark Knight won it as usual. I mean, it's a lot of people's favorite movie, and for good reason. I remember going and seeing this many times in the theaters and just being like, this is incredible. And it's sad that we can't get to that level of Batman. Hopefully we will soon. It seems like it's been a decade since we've gotten a Batman movie. If you don't count the other random things we've been getting. But, yeah, it's incredible. Best villain, one of the best stories.
To call this thing just a comic book movie, it's a disservice to the movie because I don't really... You take away a guy who dresses up like a bat, and you take away the guy who dresses up as a clown, you take that story out of it, it's a crime film. It is a complete and utter crime movie.
Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face is really good in this movie.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a crime film because Joker's trying to unite the mob, and he's an anarchist. He just wants to watch the fire. He just wants to watch the world burn. And then whenever Rachel gets killed, the Joker completely plays. It's just such a great plan. Heath Ledger does such a great job, and definitely is the greatest comic book movie villain. I loved you, Thanos, the Infinity War, but you still don't hold a candle to the Joker.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, pretty dang good.
All right, that was my number 3.
All right, my number 3 is
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
I knew it was gonna be your list.
Yeah, because I love How to Train Your Dragon, and this sequel made me happy and sad and is beautiful. The soundtrack's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everything I want. It's my favorite animated movie of all time. It's freaking-tastic. So, of course, it's going to make my best sequel list because I liked the first one a lot. And this, to me, was far superior. Can't wait for How to Train Your Dragon 3. Everybody knows about my love for How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup is awesome. Toothless is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Personally, I like How to Train Your Dragon 1 more.
You've said that before.
And I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 is still a movie sequel. But part of this list is most of my movies on my list sequels are better than the original. Actually, all my sequels are better than the original, so I like the first one more. But I love the second one. But I mean,
it's more grown up in the second one. There's a lot more adult things.
Oh yeah, when Gerard Butler dies in the movie,
yeah.
and he's facing that death and losing his best buddy Toothless, and it's such an incredible movie. I love the movie. It's a great movie.
Right.
It's also a great soundtrack too.
Oh yeah.
So my number 2 was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Oh.
So I think Return of the King is a better movie. I actually prefer Fellowship over Two Towers.
Whoa. And for me, it goes Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King. But, you know...
Well, explain your love for Two Towers since it was high.
The Two Towers, it was just... I remember the first movie, I loved it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They took everything from that first movie and they kind of like plus-sized it. There is a few scenes that, drag on and it'll put you to sleep, especially in the extended edition. But there's just all the action and stuff, and I don't know. I really like it. I think this was one of the cases where because I do think that your movie is better, the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is one of the ones where I was like, I'm just going to stick with the true sequel, where the third one, is not technically number 2, I guess. But I like all the Lord of the Rings movies.
I like Return of the King. I like Two Towers. The thing I love about Two Towers, I love the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
I have a couple problems with the movie. This is me nitpicking at this point because I think Lord of the Rings is the greatest movie trilogy of all time.
Damn.
Because Return of the Jedi is not that great of a movie, and I think Two Towers I have a problem. The Ents talk too much sometimes, and they talk really slowly, and we're like, okay, let's move along. Also, the scene when Aragorn gets kind of taken out, and he's just riding half dead on his horse, and you see all these elven flashbacks. we don't need that in the movie. That's me nitpicking though.
Yeah, there's a lot of elf stuff in this movie that's the one I'm talking about that puts you to sleep, especially in the extended editions. But I still love them.
But Return of the King, that is one of my favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love Lord of the Rings: Return of the King just because it is. I mean, it's the end of the story. I mean, the movie I love the character. My favorite movie character in Lord of the Rings is Samwise the Brave. Samwise the Gamgee is this. He's just that everyman hero who just kind of gets plucked in. And there's nothing special about him. But without Sam, Frodo would have fallen on his ass. And at the end of Two Towers, Frodo says, "Well, I want to hear the story about Samwise the Brave." Frodo could never make it far without him. And whenever he fights Shelob, he picks up Frodo, says, "I can't carry the ring for you, but I can carry you," and just picks him up like a bag of potatoes and just walks up to Mount Doom and destroys the ring. And there are so many great scenes in this movie. The extended edition is the best version of this movie because I think the extended edition because it enhances what the original Return of the King was. Two Towers you can watch it standard edition. You can watch Fellowship of the Ring standard edition. But I believe Return of the King's extended edition is so damn good. When you see the death of Saruman in the Return of the King version, you don't see that in the original. And the mouth of Sauron is so good. And whenever and then the Eagles, whenever they win, it's such. I don't know if you know this. Whenever Aragorn and gets crowned king and he meets Arwen again, and the hobbits start bowing, and Aragorn's like, "It's like, my friends, you bow to no one." They all start bowing. The guys who play the hobbits didn't know they were actually going to do that. So their looks on their face when they're just all stunned and everything. That's actually their initial reactions. So I love Return of the King. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I want to rewatch the extended editions because it's been probably a decade since I've watched them.
I
bought them all on Blu-ray, and then I don't think I ever watched them on Blu-ray because I had them all on DVD.
I watch them almost every year. It's just such a. I love Lord of the Rings, and you know how much I love Lord of the Rings from the Schmoedown.
My favorite Lord of the Rings character? Can you guess?
Legolas?
No, but he is badass.
Gimli?
Oh, no.
Aragorn?
Mm-mm.
Frodo?
Mm-mm.
Pippin?
Mm-mm.
Merry?
Mm-mm.
Gandalf?
Woo, no.
Gimli?
Gollum.
Really?
I love Gollum.
I love Gollum too, and then when he talks to himself, he's so crazy. That's probably why you like Two Towers so much.
Yeah, I'm all about the Gollum, and he's that
and Andy
scene
Serkis.
in
And Andy
Hobbit.
Serkis.
Yep, Andy Serkis, and which Hobbit movie does he have that big?
It's the first one.
He's
only in the first Hobbit.
Oh yeah, that's why I love that first Hobbit so much because of Gollum.
The riddle battle, and he's like.
Yep.
All right, so my number one, and I guess your number one's got to be The Empire Strikes Back.
That's right.
I mean, when I talk about movies, I'm like, is it The Empire Strikes Back of the movie? And
that's crazy.
And we're
not just us; everybody does that.
Yeah, I mean, Age of Ultron. It's The Empire Strikes Back of the MCU.
Everybody wants to be the Empire Strikes Backs of their.
You want the second movie to be better than the original movie. And The Empire Strikes Back, I mean, after the first movie, they didn't know if they were going to make a sequel because everyone on set thought this movie was going to be a failure. But it turns out it made so much money. They're like, all right, let's do the second one. Lucas didn't come back to direct it, so I think that actually helps the movie out. Lucas just got to handle story. Lawrence Kasdan came in to write the movie, and the story of the movie is the heroes nothing goes right in this movie. Nothing goes right. They're all on their own separate ways. They have to, and then I mean, it's just so incredible. Tell me why you like it so much.
It's freaking amazing. You get still, I think, one of the best fight scenes between Vader and
it is
Luke.
The best fight.
You get. I love Cloud City. I love the special edition of Empire Strikes Back.
It's the only special edition I like.
it's quite good. The only thing I used to always whine about this one was I thought that Luke was a little whiny during his training stuff. But every time I go back and watch it, I'm just like, you know what? Who cares? I love Empire Strikes Back.
I don't think he's whiny at all.
He's a little whiny.
I don't think
he needs to be whiny. He's a kid still, and training to be a Jedi Master. It's going to be rough on you.
Mm-hmm.
But Yoda, I mean, freaking Yoda. That's a big part of why this movie's so freaking
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, Yoda. I mean, you see him, and then you don't know really what he is, and then I can't train this boy. He's got no patience, and then Obi-Wan says he must learn patience. And Boba Fett is our first no incineration. Darth Vader's really what makes this movie, because Darth Vader is such an asshole in this freaking movie. And because I always say Star Wars is a movie of three villains. It's the first movie, the villain is Tarkin. Episode 5, it's Vader, and Episode 6 is Palpatine. And Vader, I mean, everything he does, he keeps changing the deal with Lando, another great Star Wars character. He's like, I've altered the deal. Pray I do not alter the further. And the romance between Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, Leia and Han. I love you. I know.
And it's still our favorite Star Wars movie. I mean, it is for me.
It's my favorite movie of all time. It's the greatest movie of all time. I mean, there's no movie that's ever going to be better than Empire Strikes Back. I'm sorry. It's a high bar to scale when you're the Empire Strikes Back of movies. But,
never say never.
But yeah, I love this movie, and that's my list, and that's your list. So let's get to the hard part of bringing it down. So number one, obviously, the Empire Strikes Back.
Woo, is that the first time we've ever had the same one?
No, we've had the number ones with Terminator 2.
Oh, there you go. You can't claim that I stole this one from you this time.
All right, so I had Lord of the Rings at 2. You had it at 9, right?
No, 7.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had Dark Knight at 3, and you had it at 2, so we'll put Dark Knight at 2. Then we both had Terminator 2 at 4.
What, at 5?
I had 4. Okay, let's do Lord of the Rings at 3 then. Is that good with you, or you want Terminator 2 at 3?
You did it at 4 and 5? I don't care. Sure.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, then Terminator?
Yes.
Where'd you have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? High?
That'll be the last one.
Oh.
Lord of the Rings. Let's play Lord of the Rings. Number 4, be Terminator 2. And then number 5, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Then I've had to Turn Your Dragon at 3.
Hold on.
You have Mad Max up high too, that I don't have at all, right?
Alright, so what's your next highest comment? What's your highest? You said How to Train Your Dragon?
Yep.
Alright, so number 6, we How to Train Your Dragon. What's your next?
My next would be Captain America Winter Soldier at
Well,
6.
Number 6, so my number 5 is Mad Max Fury Road, so I'm going to say number 7, Mad Max Fury Road. Let's see. So Captain America
At 6.
I'll put that at 8. Pinstein. Winter Soldier. Alright. Now, what's your next?
Next for me is Kill Bill at 8.
Okay, we already have one animated movie on the list. I don't want to put a second one, so
Okay.
I'm going to put Harry Potter at 9.
Okay.
And
Kill Bill at 10.
you really think Kill Bill is better than Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade?
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. We both have.
No, I don't think we both have anything else. I don't think you want to put Catching Fire or Lost World in there.
No,
So,
but I
Kill
mean,
Bill.
yeah, but we're both fighting for this one.
I don't care. Put whatever you want.
You have a coin?
I think somewhere. This is very official. Gee, I need a coin. Oh, how about a battery? It'll work. We got no text or text.
Okay.
What do you want to go with?
I'll go with text.
Lucky bastard.
All right, number 10, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
I actually am completely fine with that. Kill Bill should be on there. Oh, you know, honorable. Oh no, let's.
I got it. All right. The top 10 movie sequels, yeah. At number 10, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Boo.
At number 9, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. At number 8, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. At number 7, Mad Max Fury Road.
Boo.
At number 6, How to Train Your Dragon 2. Boo. Number 5, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. At number 4, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. At number 3, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. That's the Return of the King. At number 2, The Dark Knight. And our number 1 top 10 movie sequel is The Empire Strikes Back. Da 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 da. Okay, so honorable mentions.
Yeah, I had Days of Future Past, X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I had that.
Toy Story 3 and Spider-Man 2.
I had that too.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I threw Aliens in there.
I've never seen it.
At 15. It's another James Cameron action classic.
Yeah, another Spider-Man reference.
Yeah. So those are my honorable mentions.
Okay, I had How to Train Your Dragon 2. I had Kung Fu Panda 2.
Yeah.
I had Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I had Rocky Balboa. X-Men Days of Future Past. Spider-Man 2. The Bourne Ultimatum. Captain America Winter Soldier. The Godfather Part 2. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Thank God. I thought for sure you'd have that Godfather garbage in there.
Well, you gotta stop talking garbage. You just gotta stop calling my movies garbage.
Oh,
So-
you know.
So that ends our top 10. We'll see y'all next week, and have a nice night.